You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to another Friday edition of Cards to the Moon. My name is Clark from 5cardguys.com. You can also find me at 5cardguys on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm recording solo today, so I'll probably keep this episode relatively short. But I did want to hop on the pod and talk about a change in how I'm going to be buying and selling cards. And honestly, it's something I didn't think I would do for quite a while, and that's using the Vault service. You know, we certainly talked about vaulting on the pod here on Cards to the Moon ever since it became a thing. And I think generally speaking, Hyung, John, and I are on the same page. We think it's a cool idea for some collectors, and in particular for investor types and flippers. But for most, I think there's still a preference to have the cards in hand and to be able to show it off. And if you're going to sell later on, you just list it on eBay or any other online auction house and see what you can get for it. But here's the thing, and international sellers will know this firsthand, i.e. non-Americans. To ship your cards into the US, where by far the majority of buyers are, it's definitely become a little more challenging with the tariffs and with the recent removal of the de minimis in the US, which essentially makes all goods, including trading cards, under much greater scrutiny for customs, duties, and taxes. Now, I personally don't sell many cards on eBay over $800, which used to be the threshold before you have to consider all these extra fees. But now, to ensure your package or cards get through, you have to label each package with greater detail. And you also have to pay a little more for DDP postage, which is paying any applicable duties in advance, or even if there isn't any, I'm now getting charged a customs processing fee for the added labor. So all that's to say, bottom line, shipping costs have definitely increased. And if you use a third-party delivery service, like I do, that ships in bulk to save you on costs, there's already been a couple of instances where the entire shipment didn't go through because another seller didn't fill out the invoice correctly. In fact, I had shipped out a VFriends sticker card that I sold on eBay for $120, and it was unfortunately in a bigger shipment that didn't get across the border the first time. And long story short, the card eventually arrived almost a month later. And what I ended up doing, I had to refund the buyer about half for the inconvenience, even though it wasn't my fault. But this is the sort of thing that seems to be happening more frequently. So that got me thinking. For many of the cards I'm buying off eBay that I'm looking to maybe flip down the road, honestly, I think to avoid the whole headache and hassle of receiving the card and then holding on to it and then shipping it afterwards has become such a pain that vaulting now seems like a much better option. Plus, as we've discussed in previous episodes, it's become easier and easier to vault after buying a card than listing it afterwards with the simple click of a button and then receiving payment almost immediately once it's sold. Then you just rinse and repeat as you look to buy more cards to either flip or keep. Now, you might be asking, how about the cards that you rip and then want to sell afterwards? Well, for me, I think it's become a whole lot easier, actually, because I'm a Canadian, and actually this applies to Germans, my German friends as well, with the recent announcement of a PSA location in our respective countries, which means, yes, no duties or fees to cross the border to have the cards graded, and definitely more convenience. And if you're in the Greater Toronto area like me, I can just drop it off in person now to get the cards graded. And I'm hoping there's an option, I got to double check this, but for me to just leave it with them afterwards so that it can be kept secure in their vault. Now, I'm sure some of my American friends are already using the vault service because they either have so many valuable cards and it's just more secure to keep them all in a vault. But I'm guessing they already know and have experienced the convenience of vaulting when it comes to buying and selling cards. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm interested to see what you guys think. And when the PSA location does open up later here this month in Canada, I'll see how the process goes. And I'll document it for you guys to see on my Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook pages at 5cardguys. And yeah, we'll definitely talk about that experience, I'm sure, in a future podcast episode. All right, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll have a brand new episode for you Tuesday. And sorry, if you haven't heard our first episode of our new Breaking Ground series featuring John Amendola of Mint Inc., please go take a listen and tell me what you guys think. And also, if you have someone in mind that I should reach out to for the next episode of the Breaking Ground series, yeah, please let me know. And you can message me at 5cardguys or at cards to the moon, all one word, on Instagram. Or you could just email me at hello@5cardguys.com. I'll include all those links in the show notes below. Okay, thanks everyone, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.